Ladies and gentlemen, and Kevin, we are here. Abnormal Alabama. I wouldn't pick on Kevin, but I love him so much, and
Uh-huh.
he loves the. I don't
Yeah.
care what he says. He
Yeah.
loves the attention. Okay. If y'all hadn't noticed, we got a fourth abnormal person. I really don't know her enough to call her abnormal, but just from exchanging a few little comments, I think she's right there with us, all the way from Ontario, Canada. Y'all got any snow this year yet?
Oh, do we? Yes, where I am up north,
Sure.
yes, it's knee deep. Yes.
Well, Cindy has quite a history as a young actress. The Brood.
Yes.
What I'm fascinated with is she stood and acted in the presence of Christopher Walken. It's like, oh gosh. Can I
No
just touch
pressure
her?
there.
Can I just touch her hair and say I touched the hair that was next to? But Dead Zone, a Stephen King movie, she was in,
Yep.
and
That
we're
was
very,
thanks to David.
very, very fortunate to have her with us tonight.
There
And
it
look,
is.
look at that young girl there. She was able to read at that age. I'm in Alabama. We didn't read till we were teenagers.
I was working on that stutter.
Oh my goodness.
Some of us were 4.
So I guess you can find these movies like on Netflix or Amazon or some of these places. And if you haven't seen these are classics. I mean, these are what really got some of us. Well, I was already into it because I'm the old person here. He grew up with your acting. You know that, right? I mean, he was coming of age when you were in these movies, and he was, to him it was like, oh, look at that scary, cute little girl. And I think subconsciously you're the reason he started collecting haunted dolls. I don't think he knows that, but I think it's he's collecting his own brood, right?
Oh, Brood. The Brood.
So throughout, as we have people join us tonight, I want people, if it's okay with Cindy, if you've got any questions, just post them in the comment section, and maybe we can get Catherine to help us watch that, and we will let you guys ask questions. Because as you know, I don't talk very much, so I may run out of things to say. What got real quiet?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, that'll happen.
A little background here as to how we ended up
with hell.
So Kevin was a big fan of Cindy Hinds, and again, I have to clarify, I'm not talking about his girth. Okay, he's a tremendous. How do I word that?
This is
and
what, 4, 5, 6 times you've used girth. Tremendous, big, huge.
They say 7 is the number of completeness. So I owe you one.
Well, he might not be talking about that size, Kevin. Don't worry.
That's it.
I'm glad that what I'm thinking is coming out of your mouth.
Awesome.
I want to know what's in that glass you're drinking.
I swear it's just coffee.
There.
I had the beer and the wine much earlier. No.
You'll note real quick, Cindy, that there's a reason that we don't drink or smoke pot on this show. Is because we don't need to. We're already there. It's a natural state of affairs. So, Kevin, how long ago did you start this fan page for Cindy? Is it okay if I call you Cindy?
Yes, please.
Okay. It was, 2016. I want to say I was trying to go back on Facebook. Usually Facebook will say founded, but the little idiots didn't put that out there on that page. So I'm guessing from the posts from back then, it was 2016, which it doesn't seem that long, but time has been flying.
Yes, it has.
Ridiculously lately.
So did you reach out to Cindy before you started the page, or you just said, I'm going to do this?
I did. I sent a letter, I believe, with like a couple of BROOD pictures to get signed. I thought, I'm going to put in the letter because I love collecting autographs from everybody. I don't care if they are acting or were acting. I mean, I just love movies. So, yeah, I remember I sent the 2 pictures, or no, I sent 1 picture and you sent me back one. But I put in the letter, which back then they had some weird link and I had to put it on there, and I was like, she's never gonna find this, but you did. And yeah, you wrote back with your, I guess that was your Remax number.
Yeah, at the
And
time.
said, hey, and then, you know, thanking me for the letter, and I checked you out. You sound like a great guy. And I thought, well, that must have been what that drone was we saw in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Kevin,
yeah.
here's the real.
Oh, you saw that. Sorry. I didn't share the photos, I promise.
No. That's why
I got all kind of things. I got all kind of things I'm thinking here. I'm not saying. I want you to know that. Okay.
But yeah, we talked on the phone back then. I remember I was, and it must have been 2016 because I was still in my old office at work, and it just went from there. You shared some pictures, and I posted those on the page, and then it's just been going since. And every time I find something out there on Google, I put it out there. But it's always mostly the Brood. Everybody loves the Brood.
Yeah.
And
so what you indicated, Cindy, earlier that you were kind of not really thinking about your career in actressing until what did Kevin have something to do with your comeback here and interest in this, or did it happen about the same time, or what?
It happened at the same time, and that was because a gentleman who was one of the heads of a horror magazine was hired to write an article and do some background stuff and background filming and interviews for a Blu-ray edition 30th anniversary of The Brood. So he already had art in hand. And so he just took to Facebook to see if he could find me, and found me, hoping it was me, and reached out, and it just kind of went from there. And around the same time, Kevin got in touch. So it was just kind of very coincidental thing.
Synchronicity.
But because of that, I've met a lot of incredible people and been able to do a lot of really fun, great things lately.
Oh, that's great. So you're kind of reliving your childhood.
Yeah. I am. It's fun memories.
So the big question, how old were you when you got into this?
I was 4. I did it for a decade, from 74 to 84.
How? I mean, what did your mother say? We need money, or what?
No, not at all. We were shopping at the mall at the Bay. It was the Bay Day, and there was a gentleman dressed up as the Bay Man. He looked like Batman, and he was taking photos. And he stopped my mom and asked if he could take a photo with my brother and I. And we were very fair-haired, fair-skinned, big blue eyes, freckles, petite. And he said to my mom, you got beautiful little angels here. You should, here's my agent's card. You should call. And my mom had done some like baby contests with me before and things, but it was like, nah. But a few days later, she decided, what the heck? And we went in and met with the agent, who was Tranco Talent. And within a few days, I was filming a commercial for Caress Fabric Softener. And my brother did a few things as well, but he didn't really enjoy it. And literally from the time I was 4 until just past 13, I was working full time. So
you enjoyed it?
I absolutely loved it. It gave me an opportunity to play pretend and have a fun time, not always a fun time. We saw some of the stuff I've done, but
acting is not an easy job.
No, it is it's not an easy job rigorous, at all. Long hours, hard work, very difficult. And I realize now, being a mom and the age I was at, I understand why they needed an older child to play a younger child to do some of the stuff that I did. A child of that true age never would have been able to do the things that I did now. I don't know that any kid would be allowed to do the things that I did back then. But I don't know. I just, it was just a really great a great time.
So
Obviously,
you,
there was
you,
tough times. I missed a lot of school, so I missed my
yeah.
friends. But
It wouldn't have bothered me. I missed school. Give me a reason. Okay.
I love school actually, and I loved school. It was actually when I was in high school was when I decided to stop acting for a bit. I just wanted to take a break and get through high school, finish high school without interruption, and actually have a good time. I'd moved around a lot. I'd never had a lot of time at any one school, so I was kind of hoping that was going to be the thing. Unfortunately, at 17, I found myself on my own. And so I never really got back into acting after that, like I wanted to or would have. You know, I just took a different path and then never went back to it. But hey, I got called back. So there you go, full circle.
So what films we know? The Brood.
The Brood, yep.
Deadline and Dead Zone.
Deadline and Dead Zone were the 3 feature films. And then I also did a 5-part miniseries with Jack Palance called Terror in the Isles, Tales of the Haunted. And that used to come on late at night just after Twilight Zone. That was a lot of fun. But then barring that was really, I mean, that was a lot of horror stuff. But previous to all of that, I was doing things like Littlest Hobo. I did a couple and these are Canadian television programs, Littlest Hobo, King of Kensington, Flappers. I did 30 plus commercials, lots of magazine stuff, radio. I did something for Marine Bank down in Pennsylvania, that kind of stuff. So I was a very busy actor. So
for 10 years, a decade of your life.
Yes.
And unbelievably in your formative years.
Yes.
So, if going back and thinking about my childhood or any of us, 4 years old, it's like, I wouldn't, did you have a clue what you were getting involved in? Did it really, it was just fun or was there any?
At first it was just fun. I just enjoyed it. It was fun. And I liked being around older people. It was a safe environment for me to be around. So I enjoyed that. I don't know. And I guess just as I grew, I never had a bad experience on any film set. Not
so you're well treated.
Not ever, nothing. And it was just always so wonderful that
none of the horror.
Nope.
Hollywood stories of pedophiles or anything
never,
like
that. Not even close to it. It was never ever near me, which maybe is a blessing of being a child actor back then.
No, it's because
we were protected in a different way. We were open and exposed to things, but then also protected.
No, I'll tell you what it is. You're Canadian.
Yeah.
And you have that aboot accent.
Yep. Yes.
And they figured they probably couldn't get by with as much because you sounded smarter than we do.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, there you go.
Crazy. But yeah, so it was, I had a really big mosh posh of stuff until The Brood. I was 8 years old when I filmed The Brood, and I played a 5-year-old in the movie.
And that got you started with a feature film.
Yeah. And then shortly after that, it just kind of, and it ended up being horror after horror after horror, and then I stopped.
So I'm gonna ask questions, kind of highlight questions, and then we'll get down and dirty about some of the films. Okay.
Down and dirty.
Down and dirty. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you've got an hour and 45 minutes, Cindy. We've seen Kevin twerk, and you said you were right behind him.
Yeah.
So we're going to hold you to that. See if you still have any great acting skills left.
That'll be the closing comments.
Okay.
We'll see how this goes.
Now,
we want everybody to stay tuned for the whole 2 hours. Stay tuned and watch Cindy twerk at the end.
As I'm sitting here watching you with the hair and with the shape of your face, if they ever wanted to do a movie about Farrah Fawcett, you could play the lead.
Oh, well, yeah.
Look
I haven't
at
thought of that.
Look at her.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Blonde up her hair a little bit, but I mean her facial features, and it's like, hey, let's see if somebody wants to do a movie about Farrah Fawcett,
I am not throwing myself covered in paint naked against a wall. Sorry.
Yeah.
God love her, but I'm not doing it. I request a body double. Twerking's one thing, but
yeah, well, Kevin and I don't have to request a body double. We have double body.
Yeah, but well, there you go. Double body.
So 4 years of age,
yeah.
Your mother by fluke put you
Yep.
out Front Street, and by the time you were 8, you were doing feature films.
Yes.
And you worked with some people that, did you even recognize what you were working with when you did these movies? Like, oh.
No. The only one I knew, I was fortunate enough to have a small part in the choir of the American Christmas Carol that was done with Henry Winkler.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and you knew him.
Well, the Fonz, he was up on my wall. That was my first record player. I was in love with Henry Winkler. And so I have, I'm not sure where it went to. I had a beautiful photo of me sitting on his lap dressed up as the Scrooge, actually.
Oh, my goodness.
But he was probably the one time that I was really starstruck, if you will, because he was really somebody that I knew at that time. As I've aged, if you will, and you start talking to people and you start going and, I mean, Christopher Walken, Jack Palance, Oliver, those were the ones people were like, what?
Yeah.
But I've worked with so many incredible Canadian artists, like Art Hindle and, Helen Hughes and Susan Hogan. And there's just so many incredible Canadian talent.
And I started to say, at least
Nicholas Campbell, it's just incredible.
At least half the cast of Saturday Night Live's Canadian.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely. A bunch of them in Black Christmas, which is, that's my favorite horror movie is Black Christmas. And it stars Art, which is, ironically enough, but half the cast of, SNL is there, right?
So Kevin, you knew about the Brood. What prompted you to start this thing with Cindy? That's a curious thing.
I had always wondered whatever happened to that girl in the Brood, and I remember looking, and there was like nothing out there, and there was nothing on Facebook. I was seeing other fan pages for these people who they used to be child actors and aren't anymore, or some of them still are acting to this day. And I thought, well, she deserves at least a fan page. Come on, people. So I just went out there and did it, and a few people started liking it. And need to get some more likes out there. I need to do something to.
Well, we're gonna have to really promote this. I mean, she was kind enough to come on here and tolerate our insanity.
Thank you. This is most enjoyable.
But
I'm very honored and very, very humbled by what Kevin has done for me, and I've been humbled on a number of occasions with a lot of the fans that I've met, and it's been a blessing. So even doing something like this and meeting you, I truly feel blessed to have.
So would you entertain doing conventions and stuff like that?
I actually have. I've made it kind of a thing that Art has to be with me. I'm happy to do something on my own, but I just don't feel that I'm deserving or worthy of my own. You know what I mean? Like it's when it's with Art, though, I love that man dearly, and he's like a father to me. And I'm so fortunate to have him still in my life. But I love doing things with him. So if he's doing something, I'm happy to tag along. But I've been asked to look at doing things, and I don't know. I have a severely disabled son as well, so it's a little difficult for me to do things like that. But I guess people ask about getting back into show business and doing things like that, and it's if something came up and it all worked, sure, maybe.
Well, let's get you out there. And you got to put yourself out, and the thing is like you're still prime age, and I mean, let's see, Betty White made it to 99, so you're halfway there.
My idol.
But the point is like there are so many of these child actors. Like, what's the guy's name, Kevin? On there was a kid on the Munsters.
Butch Patrick.
Butch Patrick is he's on the road.
I've met him. He's a great guy.
He's a friend of David Merlin's, a magician friend of ours, and they do acts together, and they've got a vehicle. They drive around the country and do shows, and all that kind of stuff. But it's part of your life. It's a fascinating part of your life, and it's something you seem eager to share. And who knows, there may be a Farrah Fawcett role in your future.
You never know.
You never know. So Kevin, you reached out to her. You just had the idea of putting together a fan page.
Yeah, and I've always known, because down here, back in the day, and I don't remember because I was so young. What I know, we had, it was before streaming and internet and all that back in the 80s. And I remember when I was really little in the early 80s, we had one of those TV antennas on the side of our house. But then it wasn't long after that we got cable. But I couldn't remember if satellite TV was around back then. But I just know that one of the big networks here, and it's still around, but you don't hear about it near as much, was USA Network. And they showed the BROOD hundreds of times down here. In fact, we had a show on USA Network every Saturday night, 7 p.m. They would show what they called Saturday Nightmares. And the intro, guess what? In the intro, they show clips from movies, and the first thing they show is your face screaming in the BROOD when you're up against the door. And they should have paid you for that. But so people knew. And what's hilarious is there were a lot of people that thought, well, that's that little girl in Poltergeist.
Yeah.
No, they may look a little alike, but no, that's not Poltergeist.
By the time Poltergeist came out, you were an adult, weren't you?
Well, I was, yeah. And that was the funny thing is that everybody was saying, "Oh, you look just like Heather O'Rourke." I'm like, no, she looks like me. Excuse me.
There you go.
I was first. I was the first little blonde screaming girl. Me. She's cuter though.
Yeah. Well, you really, the story you told is like, this was not, you just kind of fell into this.
Yes.
You didn't start out and say, oh, I got an agent, call my agent, we'll negotiate,
Nope.
It just kind of fell into place. And the next thing you know, 8 years old doing feature films. That's kind of like, live. How did they treat you at school?
The kids, some kids were great. Some kids were cruel. Teachers were fantastic and very supportive. I especially remember my teacher, ironically enough, Mr. Graham. And Graham is actually my two children's last name by their father. He was just so incredibly supportive of, making sure to bring the work home. And if I needed any help when I was going to be home, he'd come over and sit and tutor. And it was just really, it was very impactful to me. And I think at that point, it made a difference with my education too. I've always been relatively easygoing with school. It hasn't been all that difficult. But when I felt that the teachers actually really care too, it really changed my mindset in trying that much harder when I wasn't at school to get caught up and do the work and be a good student and give back. But then on the other hand, also being in the acting gave me that outgoing personality as well. So, which helps, I wasn't afraid to talk to the teachers and ask questions. And I was used to being around older people, so it didn't intimidate me at all. So
you kind of grew up seeing yourself on these ads, TV ads. And then now you're on a feature film. How did that feel? You're going into did you go to the premiere and walk down the red carpet and...
No, they didn't have this too much back then in the 70s, but actually because of the rating of the movie, I was not allowed to attend the premiere.
Are you kidding? You couldn't go to your own movie?
That actually became a big thing. But David rented out a special theater where he invited, myself and family and a couple of other the young kids that were in it with me and all of that, and had a private screening for us that way, which was lovely.
So do you remember how you felt seeing yourself acting?
Do I what, sorry?
Remember how you felt seeing yourself on the big screen acting?
Hating it.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of like when you don't like listening to your own voice recorded.
Yeah.
It was that kind of thing, So being young too, and being at that age and a girl, and
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's all the same as it is nowadays. I was shy and awkward and uncomfortable, and I didn't necessarily want the limelight on me. Even though I was the star, I didn't care. It was just a movie. It was just a job.
Right,
And,
right.
So I think that's what bothered me when kids teased me too, because it just wasn't who I was. Just because I acted, I wasn't, there's more to Cindy than being an actor,
Are you sure about that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Lots more.
Well, clearly, because you went from acting and finished school and then went on to 2 or 3 careers after that.
Yes.
And you're back into a restaurant now, you said?
I've sold those off now, and now I'm strictly real estate. But actually, with my son and a recent move, I'm actually full-time caregiver right now to him because he's fully dependent.
Yeah.
Hoping to be able to do the odd real estate deal once I can get things going in the care for him in place. But because of what he's needed, so I'm just trying to get my life on track. I've had some major changes the last couple of years, and who knows? Maybe this will be a step forward.
Yeah, well, I hope it's all positive and moving in the right direction. It
absolutely is.
Yeah. Kevin is an awesome guy, and
yes,
I would not relentlessly pick on him if I didn't love him. You understand that, right? But you see, the minute I compliment him, his head just goes like this. So I have to be careful at how far I go in talking good about him.
I have not seen my head get any bigger than
we have been doing this, Cindy. We're almost into our 4th year.
That is fantastic.
Night. Yeah, it doesn't seem like so 4 years.
So
time is just strange lately.
Yeah.
Fine.
I had a strange occurrence happen at the end of 2018 that prompted me to say, I want to throw a Bigfoot Paranormal Convention. Something I never have done. And keep in mind, I'm a skeptical believer of sorts, if you know what I'm saying. I don't buy all the fuzzy pictures of Bigfoot,
Right.
But I think it's an interesting topic. I enjoy it. So I had an opportunity to put this together, and Kevin was one that I reached out to. Didn't really know him, and so we just kind of connected, him and a few others, and I had a whole day of speakers.
Fantastic.
And because I have connections with this guy that built a castle down here in Shelby, we're able to do, because I didn't have the money to do this. So we split tickets. Okay, if you're not in the entertainment business, you know what splitting tickets is, I assume. Yeah. And it paid off. We had to turn people away.
Wow.
We were on TV. They did a little mini documentary about us. And so right away, Kevin and I started doing this Tuesday night thing. And we just pretty much, I think we missed maybe two nights in 3 years.
Fantastic.
Maybe, yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
He forgets that I was in there somewhere.
I'm sorry. Oh, you've been so quiet. I forgot to.
Up there.
He forgets that I was in all this picture too.
Well, up until COVID, we had an office, and we used to all meet together in the office. And then COVID, along with a couple other things, I gave up the office, and we started. This came out to be a perfect thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
So that's kind of the history of Kevin and I there. And Kevin and I have actually gone and we've done some, well, Catherine, you speak up and tell about Nadine and our little haunted experience there.
Okay. Well, first off, let's go. We have had several, when Kevin and I are together, have had several things happen.
Kevin, I'm going to pull up the haunted dolls on the show.
I figured you'd probably show
Okay, tell her the story and I'll look for the video.
Okay. So I have this very precious friend named JD who gives me dolls, and he'll pass them down occasionally here and there. And he passed me down these 2 dolls and asked me to rehome them. Mm-hmm. So I rehomed them for him, and I thought, who better else to give them to than Kevin Kane?
Mm-hmm.
So I brought these dolls in, and we presented them. I presented them to Kevin for a interview type thing for a show that he was doing.
Okay.
we set these dolls in front of the camera during the show. And Kelsey, do you have it ready as to what
I'm
happened?
ready. I feel like I'm stealing the interview from you, Cindy. Do you want to watch
No,
this?
gosh, no. Come on, I'm into this. Like
You
so
ready?
into
You
this.
ready? Okay.
Well,
So this is
the guy that was watching the video was like, what, wait a second. I mean, you're going to see it in just a moment, but it was just so weird to just watch these dolls do what they did.
I'm like putting on my glasses. I'm not missing
all
this.
right. So pay attention. The
All
guy
right.
that we're interviewing there, the three of us are in the office at a conference table, and the
Okay.
guy that Catherine had presented Kevin with these two dolls as a gift, okay, because he collects them, and
Yeah.
they were given to her. She said, "Hey, you want some more haunted dolls? Here's a couple." And so the guy that we were interviewing is a ghost hunter from up in Bristol, Tennessee, and he's actually streaming from his cell phone,
Okay.
and he sees this. So here we go. Let's watch this. Pay close attention.
I had recently went up to West Virginia to the what was it called? The Afterlife Museum, the Archive of the Afterlife Museum. That place was really interesting. They had all kinds of dolls that were haunted, were supposedly haunted. They had death masks. They actually had the cap they would put on death row inmates when they got the chair. I mean, it was bizarre, and I thought, yeah,
What happened?
like 20 seconds ago, I thought, yeah, I ignored it. I ignored it because I thought it was my eyes.
I didn't really. It was this one right here, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Screen. I
Yeah.
didn't see. I missed it.
I
Both of
I-
y'all saw that.
I was just trying to see the head kind of wobble like it was trying to turn.
yeah, I
Okay,
thought my eyes were playing with me.
Joe, you want to take that one home with you?
As long as it's temporary. They had death masks. They actually had the cap they would put on death row inmates when they got the chair. I mean, it was bizarre, and I thought, yeah,
What happened?
like 20 seconds ago,
Wow.
I thought, yeah,
All right,
I ignored it. I ignored it because I thought it was my eyes.
Alabama, and we're going to build a museum on it.
That'll be cool.
It's going to be a haunted museum and a Bigfoot museum, artifacts, and for storytelling and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I had recently went up to West Virginia to the what was it called? The Afterlife Museum, the Archive of the Afterlife Museum. That place was really interesting. They had all kinds of dolls that were haunted, were supposedly haunted. They had death masks. They actually had the cap they would put on death row inmates when they got the chair. I mean, it was bizarre, and I thought, yeah,
What happened?
like 20 seconds ago, I thought, yeah,
That is creepy.
Now they actually used that video clip in a America's Most Haunted something. I can't remember. Kevin, do you remember that?
Yeah, there was one of the
Wow.
big YouTube channels did it was the top 10 creepiest things on camera, something like that.
Yeah.
It-
That's creepy.
And you watch, if you're paying attention, the one doll that was on the left of the screen, her eyelids
The
start
eyes,
fluttering,
right? That's I was like, what the-
fluttering before, and the dolls are on the totally other side of this conference table from where Kevin and I'm sitting there playing with my laptop, and they're talking, and all of a sudden I've sat next to Kevin so much I could sense that something was going on. And it's like, what's up? And he's going,
yeah, just
yeah.
from my Point of view, it looked like I saw a wobble. I thought it was about to turn around and look back at me. And
yeah, but until you saw it, until you saw it from the front side, that gets really impressive. Then.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
So that was
It's
that one. Now she's
incredible.
got another one. The three of us last year drove to the border of Georgia to a grave. The little girl's name was Nadine, and her father was so distraught he had promised her a dollhouse. For her grave, he built a brick dollhouse. And that was an interesting experience. So anyway, I'm stealing the show from you, Cindy. I feel bad about that.
No, not at all.
Go ahead, Catherine.
Yeah, I'm a skeptic at times, and we were sitting there in front of the dollhouse, and Kevin and I both heard the knock. And I looked at Kevin and I'm like, "Where's Kelsey?"
Oh, they think I'm a prankster. What?
He's a horrible prankster. But the most scariest thing we've ever caught on tape was the Dybbuk box.
Oh yeah.
We were wrapping up this box to sell. And
First of all, we found a Dybbuk box. You know what a Dybbuk box is?
No.
Okay.
I haven't heard one of those.
Jews, it's a Jewish thing.
Yeah.
And the Jewish a Dybbuk was like a spirit, kind of a negative spirit. And so the legend is that throughout history, people would contain a Dybbuk in one of these boxes. And sometimes they'd even seal it with wax and whatnot.
Yeah.
So anyway, Catherine, we found one. You tell her what happened. I listed it on eBay. Some strange things started happening in that same office. We come in there, it was coming up on Christmas time, and she had these little elf on the shelf things sitting around. And we walked in one day and they're kind of scattered, if you know what I'm saying. One of them was actually sitting on top of the Dybbuk box that was now on the floor. So it was kind of like, okay, we're going to get rid of this thing. And we didn't know Zach Bagan at that point in time. So if you know who Zach Bagan is. Anyway, so now tell her the rest of the story as we're packing this thing up. This guy in California bought it from us.
I was packing it up. I was cutting the paper to wrap it up and make it look all pretty because that's just me. And I laid the scissors down and the scissors shot across the room. And I'm not going to say I probably almost peed myself. It was that scary. And I screamed. I wanted that thing out of the office, away from me. And once it was away from me, everything, I felt peace again.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that brings about a question back to Cindy, our special guest. A lot of child actors who played in these horror shows like the Poltergeist and the Exorcist and whatnot end up having some horrible trauma come to their lives that urban legend says came from their experience on these horror shows.
Right.
Did you ever have any bad experience that you would say, "Ooh, I shouldn't have played in the Brood because this happened to me," and whatever?
Say that any of my childhood trauma had absolutely nothing to do with the movies, and the exact opposite. It gave me the opportunity to get away from it as opposed to be there in it, right?
So, people will ask that because that's common to hear.
Yeah, for sure. Things. Didn't you have nightmares? Didn't you have this? And like I say, it was just so, they were so great with me of making sure I was comfortable and wasn't worried. And, and having the comfort of my mother there, excuse me. And then I always felt safe on set.
What was your favorite role?
That's good.
Boy, oh boy, that's a tough one because there were so many.
You enjoyed them all?
Fun ones, but the Brood has definitely got to be there at the top. But I really love playing, believe it or not, Lottie on Taps for Tots. It was Flappers, a show in Canada, a CBC show. in the early 80s, and I got it was a 1920s restaurant, and I got to be a spoiled brat who was taking tap dancing lessons from one of the waitresses there, and we were supposed to put on a little show, and I wanted to be the star of it. So I got around and stomping on other girls' toes and pushing them out of the way, and got to be a complete brat. That was a lot of fun.
That's a release.
That was a lot of fun to be a brat, because I was always so, so quiet, or the good girl, or, I mean, we had fun on sets, but to actually be a rotten character, that was the one and only time I got to be a little brat. So it was great.
That is really every little girl's dream, is to be a brat.
And then I got to dress up like a cigarette girl. Right.
Yeah.
So the ringlets and the lace stockings and the little things. And it was like,
You played dress up.
I was 10 and I was the cat's ass. But, I actually worked with Henry Walken. He's a wonderful actor and stuff too. Like there was so many people in that show. There was, again, great Canadian talent.
Well, I hate to tell you, but when you're listening to your voice, I still think that you believe you're the cat's ass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, how long? Let's start with the BROOD. How long did it take to film that?
My recollection is about 5 to 6 weeks of filming. We did have to go back.
Quick. That's pretty quick, isn't it?
It wasn't, but again, that was just my stuff too,
Okay.
right? So, might have been a couple weeks more. I do know we had to go back after and redo a couple of the scenes, because there were some sound issues and things like that. And there were some challenges with being in the winter and stuff. But, probably overall a couple of months to get it filmed.
And where was it filmed at?
Mostly around Toronto.
Okay, so it was a Canadian film.
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And who directed that again?
That's David Cronenberg. He wrote and directed it, and it was one of the first $1 million horror movies made. He got a lot of there was a lot of tax credits and stuff going on in Canada at the time. And they were giving funding and trying to get the industry going and stuff, shelters and things. So I think there was a lot of opportunities there.
So did they compensate you well?
I have no clue.
They paid your mother.
Well,
your
I got
mother-
paid. I'm sure at the time, I received very fair compensation for, what it was. I don't recall any gripes. The only one that I know for a fact was Deadline. I didn't get fully paid for that one, but they had gone bankrupt, and I don't think many people got paid for that one too much.
So
it still got released, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. So you got no residual from any of this over here?
No. It is funny though. I will still, oddly enough, get the odd $1 or $2 check for a Littlest Hobo thing. Or,
oh wow!
I got. I don't even know how the heck it happened. Art was actually the one who told me I should make sure ACTRA knows where I am, even though I'm not a member anymore. A Gift to Last was another Canadian show, Old Fashioned Days, and I got a $17.28 check. And I mean, I did that show when I was 10.
Oh wow!
So, we're talking 40 years later, if you will. That I'm like, what? This is crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
cool.
pretty neat to see them, and
keep reminding you, hey, you were an actress. You were doing
yeah. I honestly, I don't even think about it unless something like this comes up. It's just not even part of my day anymore.
So if you were to be in a movie that's filmed in the States, that's not a Canadian movie, which I'm sure The Dead Zone was an American movie instead of a Canadian movie, wasn't it?
It was filmed in Niagara-on-the-Lake.
So
Canada, mostly in Canada.
Okay, it was a border town.
but it was, again, it was cost effective, right? I mean, the dollar was much better. So that's
my lead on that is that, are you able to drop your Canadian accent? Did you have the ability to change your tone?
I never had to change my voice except for when I did Dead Zone, and then that was trying to develop a stutter. But that's it. It was always the same voice. Even with the Marine Bank commercial, they didn't seem to have an issue with the way I spoke. it was okay. I did a couple of commercials in French. Worked with the coach then, but typically my my about accent was it was okay.
They didn't give you a problem with it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Wow.
we get questioned about our accents all the time.
Yes, right. It's
Because
we're
it's like
Southern
none of us have
drawl.
them, right? None of us think we have an accent until you know. But when you
I fought my Southern accent like all kinds. I hated it.
We ain't
I
got
hate
no
it.
accent.
I ain't got, what y'all doing?
Mine will
Jesus.
change depending on which location I am and who I'm speaking with.
Jesus H. Christ, where's dinner?
We, I have a funny story about going to Alaska. I was doing really well, was not using any kind of Southern accent at all. I was a military brat. Okay. I could change it up easily. So I was doing really well up in Alaska. And we were sitting, my uncle and I were sitting in a bar, and I went and ordered just a drink. And this couple asked, "How are you doing?" I said, "I'm well. How about y'all?" And ruined the whole entire thing. So I got hell for the rest of the night.
Yeah, well, let me tell you what, I went camping back in my 20s, and I just wanted to get away, and I drove up to London, Ontario, of all places, went camping in a little pup tent up there. And so, young, whatnot, I thought, I'm going to go to a bar up here. I walked into this bar, they had a live band, and the first and they didn't know me. I'd never been to London, Ontario, and I certainly had never been in that bar. First freaking song they played was Sweet Home Alabama. I'll never forget that. I thought, I can't get away from this crap.
They do play that song in the oddest places.
Yeah.
it's
So
a
you
good
did.
tune.
It's a good song.
So you did the Brood first.
Yes, that was my first feature film, and then I did Deadline, and then Tales of the Haunted, and then Dead Zone.
So Dead Zone, of course, Stephen King. Okay. He's written a couple of horror books,
Yep.
Yeah. Did you get to meet him?
No, did not. David Cronenberg, who did the Brood, was the reason that I got cast for that.
Okay.
That whole thing. Writers, directors, producers like working with people that they know. So I was very, very fortunate that David was happy with my performance in the Brood.
Right.
So he called me in. I was actually supposed to play the part of the little girl in the fire at the beginning of the movie, the nurse's daughter. He gets caught. That was the role David wanted me for. But when I walked into the room, he went, "Cindy, you grew up." So I was a little bit too big for that. So then there you have it. I got to work with Christopher Walken because he gave me a different role in the movie.
So you could have continued on, but you chose to drop and take a break.
Yes.
And okay, don't have to go into details, but bottom line is you said, I'm going to finish school up, whatever.
Yes.
And the next thing you know, life took its course.
Yeah.
And you didn't give it, from what I understand, you didn't give it a lot of thought from that point on. You just kind of got wrapped up in your life, and that became a distant part that you were separated yourself from.
Yes.
But now you're a little bit older. Life has shifted gears again for you, and you would entertain getting back into it.
Maybe. I've been sort of slightly dragged back into my daughter, who is not going to be an actor full time, has done some acting. She's done a couple of movies, and she actually just finished helping out with some background on the next season of When Hope Calls. I played one day with her too. They needed some extra help. So I'm like, can I come play? That'll be fun. So, just the fact to be with my daughter on set was very, very cool. But that's really about as far as it. I think truly, if I were to look at getting back into anything, I feel I'm probably more a producer type person now than necessarily an actor. I don't even know if I could act anymore. Truthfully, I don't know. You know I'm very dynamic. I'm got a personality, but remembering lines and acting and all that kind of stuff, I don't know. It's a lot of work too. I'm ready to retire.
Well,
it's hard work. I don't know.
Okay, so what role would be offered to you that you could not say no to?
A sequel to The Brood.
Really?
Yeah,
So
I would never say no to that.
Have y'all talked about that?
Well, in my brain, I've got multiple scripts. Well, I jokingly said that to Art when I was going through my separation with my ex. I'm like, man, do I have some good material for The Brood too. I so get where David was going with the first one.
So now, so that could
evolve.
But no,
yeah. We've joked around, and the fact that Art is, is still with us, and I'm here, and then my daughter, I drag her sorry butt into it too. She wouldn't like it too bad. But it would, I think it would have to be a decent script though.
Or maybe we could do a short and do a parody.
Yeah, whatever
you
happened
know what I'm
to
saying? Yeah.
The way I ended it on my arm, and you can show.
Yes,
there you go.
Little bumps there on the arm.
Yeah, and it don't. I mean, even if you just released it on YouTube, come on.
I'll give David a call first and just make sure he'd be okay.
There you go. Get him to sign off on it. He can direct it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I always wondered the way The Brood ends with you see her bumps like her mom had. I wondered if David at the time of that was purposely leaving that open for a sequel and it just never happened, or he just liked cliffhanger endings.
I think that was part of it, and I think a lot of it, that movie was from my understanding, kind of lethargic for him as well. So I think the thought was just not to want to revisit that time of his life again, if you will, right? Not to go back, go forward. And I think that's why there was never a second one to it. It was just better left to the imagination of what could have happened.
The three of us would gladly volunteer to work with you. And,
awesome.
So that'd be no issue.
Could I dress you up as Broods?
Whatever. Yeah.
Oh, the Broods grew up.
Yeah. Grew up, grew up and grew out and grew up and grew old.
Yeah, we beat the system because in the movie they only lived so long. We beat the system.
Some of us grew out in a appeasing place.
So we call it. It's a simple title. We call it The Return of the Broods.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. So have you ever?
But no, I think probably because my interests are so different. I mean, truthfully, horror isn't my thing.
Well, why are you talking to us?
It's not. Now, Paranormal Activity. I'll go all day on that stuff.
Okay.
The documentaries that I watch on this I am a true believer and a firm believer in spirit, and I was drawn to this home where I am now. I firmly believe that. I feel the owner here still. I get goosebumps just mentioning her now. I just literally I accidentally found this home where I am. And the moment I walked in the door, I just knew it was my home, and I just had to figure out a way to make it my home, and I was able to. So I was very fortunate.
You're in Ontario. You didn't
northern part. I'm about 4 hours north of Toronto.
Okay, so you're in a small town.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, we got about 50,000 people here. So I'm actually it's North Bay, Ontario. I came to college here. That's how I discovered this beautiful place.
So you're still
on the water. It's nice.
You're still a little bit further south than Thunder Bay.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Southeast.
Yeah. Well, I did an interview several years ago. Are you into UFOs?
Oh yes.
Another Canadian, Stanton Friedman.
Okay.
I did an interview with him. He now just died, unfortunately, but Canadians are wonderful people.
Thank you.
Why y'all would want to come down here and associate with us, I have no clue.
Because you guys have really cool shit going on, I'm telling you.
You're right. We got a lot of shit going on. I don't know how cool it is.
I mean, like, if you're into this paranormal and all that, I mean, man, oh man, Savannah, Georgia, and that ghost tour that I took.
This little device sitting on my desk is for thermal imaging that I can hook it up to my cell phone and do thermal camera,
Get out.
Yeah.
See, technology can be a great thing now,
I tell
right?
you, yeah.
I mean, well, that's the other thing, right? You know, like we say about how long did it take to do my movies, and we're saying 5 or 6 weeks, and now they're running them off in 2 to 3 weeks, and they're on the air in 2.
Yeah.
You know, so I filmed mine, but it didn't get to air for a year and a half. Like it didn't get to the theater.
Kevin, we need to introduce her to Zach Bacon. She would be
oh gosh.
You will.
Oh,
It's a love-hate relationship.
yeah.
He's got what is this show called, Kevin?
Ghost Adventures.
Ghost Adventures.
And he's tamed himself down a little bit. When he started out, he would bust into places, got the muscles pooched out and the hair gelled up.
Bodybuilder type, And we're coming to get you, and
And I saw him at a convention back in 2013 in Kentucky, and all the girls were just when he came through. He had a line of just mostly young girls just drooling, in their socks. And but when I said, I do like the show. I want to go up and say hey to him and get autograph, and I did. And he was really a cool guy, and he means well. He is good to his fans, so I can't say too much bad about him. But yeah, when he started out, I guess he was trying to be explosive.
Well, he played it right because he got the following real quick.
Yes,
and the guy I like was one of his camera guys and him and I have fun with this because it's like he would always get this expression when something happened and go like that,
Yeah, dude.
Well, what gets me is they're calling for the ghost to come to them and make things, and then they're scared.
Yeah,
they're calling it to you.
But I mean, if you're interested in paranormal, Cindy, have you been involved in any ghost hunting or just
not in any ghost hunting? I've had a couple of really
you've had some experience,
lovely experiences. I would have to say, not scary experiences.
If you watch these reality TV shows like with Zach Bacon, any others, ghost hunters, whatever you watch, it's really boring stuff because not a lot happens. When it does, it's exciting, but you've got to really be over the top if you want people to watch it on TV.
Yeah.
As Zach Bacon played it off, he had the right personality and everything to do it, and his team. So they were made for TV, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Well, before Zach Bagans, there was Yvette Fielding from Most Haunted in the UK, and then they merged it over here. She was like that. She would go in just so sweetly asking the spirit, if you could show yourself, please, with her little British accent. And the second a sound would happen, I mean, if a rock dropped on the floor, she would just scream at the top of her lungs and run. And I wanted so bad to meet her and just ask her, if you're going to scream and run, why do you go in the first place?
Yes.
Well,
I mean,
that's the same way with the Bigfoot hunters.
Oh, yeah,
that's right. You ever paid attention to Bigfoot guys? They will see a Bigfoot in a tree line way over here, and they stay. If I see Bigfoot, I'm approaching this bitch. I mean, it's like
you're approaching this.
I mean, it's like, hey, okay. He might break my leg, but I'll never have to work again because I got up on a Bigfoot.
You got up to it. That's right.
He might stink though, Bigfoot and big feet. They don't.
That's fine. The money I'll make from that odor, I'll be glad to.
I don't know. I'm afraid I might be raped by Bigfoot and have Bigfoot's baby.
Okay. Do you ever watch YouTube, Cindy?
Yes.
Okay. The guy's name is what's his name? Kane. He's hilarious. I can't remember his first name. My brain dead now.
I can't remember it either.
Hold on a second, because she's got to see this. She'll love this.
Oh Lord!
I can trigger his mind like that.
What is his name? I know his last name is Kane because it's the same last name as.
No relation.
Kevin.
No relation.
No, Peter Kane. So
Peter Kane.
Hold on. So you want to see something? This is the kind of stuff that I want to get the three of us to do here.
All right.
Let me pull up here. And find the best one. He's got a bunch of them here, and they're just hilarious. Hilarious. Okay. Are you ready for this,
Oh,
Cindy?
Lord.
I am ready.
This is not the best one. I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking for it, but this is one of his.
All right.
It's Peter Kane, a dog trainer. He's an excellent dog trainer, but he's an actor too. Let's just do that.
Is he though? Is he really?
Well, I mean, he might have really got raped. I don't know. I mean,
and I was like, how'd the dog get out of the yard? I saw a bunch of, movement, and then I got back and well, maybe it's a deer, and then I was worried about my dogs because there's a lot of Bigfoot and Sasquatch in this area. I didn't have a gun with me, and so I got back here, and that's when I saw the female Sasquatch. She tore out of the bushes, knocked me down on the ground, and I thought she was gonna kill me. I'm like grabbing for a gun, and then I realized I didn't bring a gun with me. I didn't have a dog with me. I was back here by myself. I was terrified. I was so terrified. It was so scary, and I wouldn't be back here right now except I feel the need to get over my fear. And what happened was, as soon as I was knocked down on the ground, she starts ripping my clothes off me. She did. She pulled my pants off me, and I'm like, oh great, what she's gonna kill me. They're gonna find my naked body here. It's worse. As soon as she got my pants off me, she started jerking the ween, and I'm like, whoa, that's not gonna work. What are you doing? And then the next thing I know, keep in mind, this is a big Sasquatch, comparable to a big hairy Russian woman. Big, 7.5, 8 feet tall and hairy. So I'm down there on the ground. I'm completely naked. My clothes have been ripped off me, and she starts giving me a knobber. It was all just biological. I didn't have any choice. I blew my load. I blew my load in the Sasquatch. As soon as I did that, she got up and she ripped down. She let out this howl and then ripped down this tree. And I thought, my God, she's gonna take the tree and take it and smash me, right? No, it didn't end. And then she starts blowing me again. And I'm like, could you give me 5 minutes? She didn't even give me 5 minutes. She started blowing me again. The next thing you know, I bust a nut again, and then she stands up and does one of these isn't that good? I swear to God. Then she hightails it into the woods this way. Now, I didn't know what to do at this point. I'm like, what do I do? I've been raped by a Bigfoot. Do I call the police? What do I do? I still don't know what to do.
Oh, my God.
It's great. Oh, my goodness.
The one where he starts crying. That's the
that's another one. That's another one. He's walking out there where he got raped by Bigfoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's bawling his eyes out.
Oh. Where is he from?
Upstate New York.
Oh,
New York,
yeah.
Yes.
That is great.
You can look him up. Peter Kane, dog trainer.
Oh,
And,
absolutely. That is
Yeah,
great.
Kevin,
That's great.
I watched Kevin while I'm playing that. He's rolling off his chair there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one where he's crying just because the look on his face. He's around the camera.
I have to mute my mic because I was crying.
Anyway, so
That's
we need to do some parody type thing with the BROOD, Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we'll lighten it up a bit.
yeah.
I always wondered if those were kids playing that part or those little people.
Yeah.
Playing.
So-
Were that kids?
The two main broodlings that did most of the murders were played by two little people, Johnny and Felix. But the rest of them for that big scene, it was the Mississauga Gymnastics Club. So it was a bunch of young girls that were actually around my age, which was kind of cool to finally have some kids hanging out on set for a few days.
Oh, wow.
With me. So yeah.
So you were the star of that movie.
One of, yes.
What? Yeah.
The story was basically about me, but what was going on, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that was the pretense of the story.
But in that movie, you were a victim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one I'm least familiar with is going to be Deadline.
Okay. Yeah.
What is that story?
That story, Stephen Young is my father in that, and he played a horror movie writer, and he was having a block, if you will. He was having difficulty writing movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And one day his kids, 2 sons and a daughter, watch one of his movies, and his horror movies, and they decide to try and act it out. And I accidentally get hung because of the acting out of this movie. And so that sends him into a, mental demise, if you will. And throughout the movie, I come back and haunt him. But it's a very gory movie because there's lots of scenes about his horror movies. So, you're watching vignettes, if you will, of his imagination with his horror movie and seeing the different things. But
you're saying you played a ghost in that movie.
Yeah. Well, it was, so I got hung for real in real life, and you saw it. And then throughout the movie, I may swing by, or he was watching one of his movies and he saw me being hung again. So I got hung twice in the movie, actually. And then there was one time he was with a bunch of prostitutes in the house with drugs and all this stuff. And that's what I say, talk about what a kid wouldn't be able to do, right? There's all these naked women and they're passing me across like I'm, woo, that kind of a thing. And it was interesting.
So it's strange. It really is mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's an odd one. It's pretty gory.
Now, different than doing a play on stage,
yes.
Doing a movie, you can do retakes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you stumble or something didn't go perfectly. Yeah. Did you do a lot of retakes? Did you get it right the first time?
Sometimes, not usually too many takes, and a lot of times there was a lot of complications to the scenes, so you really had to try hard and get it done right the first time. I mean, even things like coming through the door, right? Like, I mean, we did that once, and thankfully it was good enough, right. But it was, I know there was filming of them on the one side. They had multiple doors, right? Mm-hmm. So there's the pounding the doors. They had to change it out because it would get covered in blood. So then they had to put a clean door, covered in blood, those kind of things, mm-hmm. With the hair, with me and all that. So it wasn't quite so simple to adjust things with a computer like they can now. They literally had to wash me, clean me, put me in pajamas and all that kind of stuff. So it was important to get things with those scenes right out the gate, if you could. But I found that most of the different takes were more different angles or scenes. You do it a few times one way, and then they try and shoot it a couple of different ways, and then choose.
Mm-hmm. Did you end up with a lot of? I know you do any kind of film, video, or whatever. You over film. You have a lot of stuff you end up not using.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you remember doing scenes and different things that ended up.
The BROOD was huge. Yeah. There was a whole nother parallel story that ended up not being put in the movie. And I'm not quite sure why, if it was an editing thing or a timing thing. But he had tied me into the actions of the BROOD. So every time, the mother was angry and the BROOD were acting out and something was happening, there was something happening to me too. So when the grandmother was being killed, because you can actually see it when I come and look through, my hair's a mess. Mm-hmm. But what you hadn't seen is that previous to that, when she was being killed, I was crumbling up the paper in the picture and getting really angry. When the teacher was getting killed, I was outside pounding on the wall of the school until the blood came. Those kind of things, and that got all cut from the movie.
So is this a typical like 90-minute movie?
Yeah.
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 So even though this happened a couple of decades ago,
yeah.
What are you, 39 now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And holding strong.
There you go. So you learned a lot about filmmaking from that early experience, because the way you talk about it now, you know how to make a movie.
Yes and no. I know people that know how to make movies. How about that? You know,
well,
I know
yeah,
when I had the restaurant, I would hire a bartender. I would hire a
right. But I just find it amazing that you were very young when this took place, but now after a length of time, you've retained so much about it and part of you.
Yes. Yeah.
Now that,
It's
to
funny,
me,
like
that
looking at that, it's, you know,
does that to
it's
give
like
you
I can remember it like it was yesterday, David telling me, you know, what to think about when I was looking and, you know, talking me through that, you know, and
so is it kind of surreal to you?
It absolutely is. You know, when I look at the pictures and I see myself, I'm like, my God, that was me. That was me. You know,
There's
like that, right? I mean, that's
there's
awful.
the hanging.
Yeah,
The
that's
deadline.
that was the original one.
Well, they did good on that picture right there. I mean, you got the look. Was that your real hair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I've got blonde hair, and actually, I know it looks darker now, but it's still fairly light. I've been people always go, nope, knock on wood, it's virgin hair, never had dye touch it.
Yeah,
I'm very fortunate, but it was kind of the thing with growing up and doing the acting too. My mom took very good care of my hair growing up, and it was like, not coloring it, you're not cutting it, you're not, and then I just kind of kept it going, because as I got older, I realized how fortunate I was to have such nice colored hair, and it just never, and then all of a sudden it went crazy on me. I know it used to be so straight, as you saw.
so Dead Zone was the last feature film you did.
Yes.
But and even after that, you did some Canadian TV stuff.
No, that was all done before. Dead Zone was literally the last thing that I did.
So that was the nail in the coffin for you as far as acting.
If yes, yeah. There was a few phone calls after for things, but I wasn't able to do them, and that was also part of my reason for saying, you know what, I think I just want to put a hold on it then, and just not be disappointed, not have expectation, and just enjoy.
Right. So I'm sure, and now we've got the backstory how you got involved in this, but I'm sure you get to talking about this, there'll be mothers coming up and say, how do I get my little one involved in movies? Have you got that question before?
It's funny, just from the experience with my own daughter, it is nothing like it used to be. Right. And I remember because my daughter did not know that I was a child actor.
Really?
And she had asked me at one point about it, and I was thinking, and I was like, geez, I don't know, I guess she must come by it naturally. So I decided to call, and actually Tranco was still there, and I called, oh my God, Cindy. And the first thing they said was, don't do it. Don't put a child in it. It's so hard now. And absolutely right. I mean, when I used to go in for auditions, there was, half a dozen of us.
That's hundreds. Too many. Hundreds.
But now there is hundreds. Yeah.
Well,
hundreds. And half the time you're videotaping it and sending it in, and you're not, there wasn't so many of us. So it really was, I always say it's funny because Megan Follows, who is an absolutely incredible Canadian actress and very well known, her and I were the rivals, right? Like you'd walk into an audition for something bigger, and it was her and I for the most part. And, she went the Matt and Jenny and Anne of Green Gables, and I went horror movies. So, it was kind of like that. And then she stuck with it, and she's just absolutely outstanding. And I went a completely different route. But that's who it was back in the day. There really wasn't too many of us.
I've got history in the music recording studios and whatnot, and it is the same way. the joke in Nashville is any restaurant you go to, you're either being served by a future singer or songwriter,
Right.
So, but it's totally, yeah, it's a rough business. And I don't think people realize how rough it is. And I hear so often throughout my life, I've heard, oh, you have to hear my daughter or my son sing. They're going to be, it's like, you don't realize what I've seen thrown in trash cans.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Because if it's not commercial and they've got an ear for it, because that's their job.
And a lot of times it's just it truly is who you know and who you've been working with.
Yeah.
I said the only thing that I think now is, if I had stuck with it, where might I be with David Cronenberg?
Yeah. Well, there's that side of it. Then we've got the other side of it, because there's so many stars that are born through YouTube. Okay.
Yes.
I think that Justin Bieber, another Canadian, got his start on YouTube, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And
So,
Shawn Mendes. Yep.
Yeah. So they've kind of beat the system.
Yes.
And went straight to the fans and built their base, and they made the system want them.
Yes. Yeah.
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 So
well, and I think we're seeing a lot of difference with the indie films now and stuff too, right? The coming out, the independent films, and that's with all the film festivals, the one that I'm involved with, the Blood and the Snow, the Canadian Film Festival, and we, really heavily look at all the Canadian genre films and the minorities in genre films, Indigenous. Black people, other people of ethnicities and things like that. It's so important for them to have the support because it's so limited now. It's wonderful that places like Netflix and everybody else has come along, but it's that much tougher for these little indie guys who have beautiful, wonderful movies to actually get recognized. So thankfully there's these festivals out there, and they're all over the States, which is wonderful as well, to help get them out and get them exposed. And thankfully they're getting picked up to be streamed.
Yeah. Well, it's wide open, and that, you're just not going to get the upfront money from some big producer to, but if you can work your way into it is my point.
Yeah. Amazon Prime has it now where you can submit movies.
Oh, you can submit your stuff to Amazon.
Yeah.
So you can circumvent a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of people that use a lot of different platforms.
Yes.
And they will charge. Well, it's just like on YouTube. We've got Patreon accounts.
Right.
So the guy that you just watched doing his Bigfoot, he lives off of it because he gets money through people subscribe through Patreon.
Yeah.
And so he just says, screw, I don't need Sony. I don't need any of these big Fox or any of these people. I just do my own thing.
Yeah.
And I that's the part I like about it. You can, and then of course on my computer here, I do video for weddings and whatnot, because I officiate a lot of weddings.
Yeah.
And what I can do on my computer, they couldn't do when you were starring in movies. I mean, it was
that's right. We were actually, I was just talking about that with somebody, like you'd literally, you wouldn't realize you'd be in the middle of such a great scene and all of a sudden, oh my God, we ran out of film. And can somebody go grab it? But then it was the splicing that needed to be done. And now the thing is, can somebody bring me a battery? I need to plug the camera. That's
well, the way I do mine is different than most. Is I have a whole sack full of GoPros and whatnot. And I set up static cameras, and then in post-production I pull scenes.
Awesome.
And then it's like, how did you do this? It's like, well, unless my computer locks up.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not that difficult, and then you can fade in, and I've created Bigfoot video. I put Bigfoot in the woods over here,
Awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
No, but we did not fake the dolls, I assure you.
No, that was just pure paranormal luck there.
Well, you're talking about paranormal stuff. That's what you got to be careful of, because it's so easy to fake this stuff now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I love watching those shows, actually, the debunking and, I mean, man, some people are pretty ingenious with that.
do you get the Travel Channel up there?
Yes.
Because they just pretty much is 24/7 paranormal stuff.
All that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
They've even got one show that Ozzy Osbourne and his wife are being shown clips by their son,
Yeah.
and they're judging whether they believe it or not.
It's hilarious. I love it.
That is great.
It is. It is.
Oh, wow.
They're hilarious.
They are.
You can laugh and get scared at the same time.
And to think of Ozzy Osbourne as a grouchy old man now.
Yeah.
That's
it. That's it. That's it.
So do you have? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, would it be possible to pause for the cause? Because, you know, a couple of hours and having a coffee and
go
all
for
these
it,
great
go for it.
things.
We will just keep talking and you can depart and come back.
You know, if that's okay.
No.
Great.
Hey, Cindy, thank you for spending this time with us.
Oh, no, it's
Very
my pleasure. I'm having a blast. This is great. I'm like, I know I'm going to be spending the night on the computer now looking up all this
Now,
stuff.
wait a minute.
It's your fault.
Cindy, hold on. Perfect position to twerk.
I might pee myself then. You're so bad.
You're so bad.
Oh my goodness. This has been very good. This has been a very good.
It has been. I was going to be on early at 20 till 7.
Yeah.
And this little flat top laptop, little asshole right here,
Go blue screen on
didn't want to come on.
Oh,
Came
boy.
up with a message. Your camera and your mic is not connecting. You must close out. I said, I'm gonna close you out the window. I'm gonna push you on the floor. Of all nights,
violent.
Of all nights, we got Cindy on. I'm like, oh, you better. And it worked. I got on here, 10, 12 minutes early.
My camera, it doesn't work, nor my microphone on my computer. I have to do I have to plug in an external mic on it.
Yeah.
I thought you had headphones like we do.
I did.
You did. Well, this I really, Kevin, this has really been a wonderful thing. I'm glad you had this idea because this has been very fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
And another brain fart of mine. I've got a friend I went to school with that was did a few movies and TV.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Return of the Swamp Thing, and he was he did an episode of In the Heat of the Night with Carol O'Connor. And he still lives here in Birmingham. He does his own movies. And why haven't I sent him a message and said, hey, Daniel, you want to come on here and
Kevin, what is wrong with you?
See me get humiliated and all that. Oh, she's mad. Oh, was that
so here's the
replay.
All right. So here's Cindy, you know I'm gonna grab that short scene and I'm gonna do you and Kevin twerking together.
Awesome.
Mine's about as short. There's and then I'm done.
Yeah, but if you notice, I just kept replaying it and zooming in on it.
Oh Lord!
But Kevin, I don't know. Your butt was so big, I didn't have to zoom very far.
He's so mean to Kevin, is he not?
Oh, I feel the love. I feel the love. What a romance.
I've got a finger off camera here.
You got to understand, Cindy, I can do this because I'm almost as big as he is, okay?
Almost as big. Almost, he says. I ride my exercise, but the little bastard won't go off my stomach. It just stays there.
It's all those haunted dolls you've got.
Yeah. Like, we like you, Pudgy. Ooh.
It's all that good food he cooks.
Yeah, I try not, and that's the thing. That is you think working from home, I won't eat as bad. We eat. We cook and we eat, and I think I.
Well, when we first got connected, he was living in a little garden home, and he collected so much stuff. Now he bought a ranch a couple of years ago. I call it Kevin's Graceland of Chelsea, Alabama. So we're gonna put big iron gates up like they have at Graceland, Elvis's house, and we're gonna put dolls on it. Okay.
This used to be the sign was still here when I bought it. The Rocking G Ranch. I don't know what the G stood for. But I thought about just putting a rocking doll ranch.
There you
on
go.
here.
There you go.
That's it. That's
And
it.
and
That
it'll
is-
be the Rocking Doll and Cindy Himes Museum.
It's going to have to be a haunted item because I've got to get rid of some stuff, Kevin.
Do you ever go back now at this point in your life and rewatch any of your stuff?
No, it was funny. The last time I watched The Brood was probably about 5 years ago because the TIFF Bell Lightbox in Toronto was doing a special feature for David Cronenberg, Evolution, it was called. By coincidence, I happened to be down there and found a program, and I was on the front cover of it, and I was like, what the is going on? And that was really kind of cool, I gotta say.
So has your daughter watched your movies?
She's seen little bits. Her and her girlfriends, because she's 20, had a lot of fun watching Deadline and rewinding and apparently my brothers thought that was quite funny too, sick buggers that they are. But my the new man in my life hasn't seen any of my stuff, and ironically he's in the film industry with production up in northern Ontario. Here we're quite active. We've actually just got $150 million contract up in this area for movies to be filmed and stuff. So it's kind of fun to have that commonality. So I understand why he's never ever home because he's always working.
So is this government funding? Is this Canada trying to enhance the
this will be contracts from companies that want movies made, like up in this area, not even just North Bay, but even like Barrie, quite prominent in making like Hallmark movies. The Christmas movies, everybody loves the Canadian winters, right? We've got great scenery in this area, so there's a lot of that. And then you can get, again, cost effective. You can get Canadian actors for your third or fourth in background, and then get the bigger names to pay to bring up and stuff. But us Canadians are pretty fun to work with, and the people that I've met in the companies that's up here, like Hideaway Pictures and David, incredible, smart, hardworking people. There's a production company in Collingwood with Jesse and Liv, and they're doing some incredible work as well. So and again, talking about the little indie projects and stuff, it really is out there, large and small.
So
it is growing finally. We actually got some good stuff coming out of Canada, some really good stuff coming out of Canada.
So is anybody working with the First Nations on anything like this? Are they involved?
Well, that's a big thing with ourselves, with our film festival, The Blood and the Snow. It started a couple of years ago where we worked with a class, young students up in the Yukon territories, and they did films. And then we've had other Indigenous people submitting films. And like I say, and other ethnic races and people of minority. It's really important to us with this film festival to go, this just isn't, we're not just white Canadians.
Right.
We are a melting pot of these beautiful human beings,
like the United States,
of everything, and even the LGBTQ. It all needs to be represented, and I'm hoping that the generation below me will continue to do what they're doing in raising their children and making the changes, and there's enough of us to support them with it as well.
Right. Oh, Kevin, I don't know if you've ever been to Canada, but you, Cindy, I believe, live in the proximity of one of the most populous areas of Canada overall, right? Toronto and in that general vicinity. Most of Canada, if you want scenes of nature, is sparsely populated and beautiful from the West Coast to the East Coast.
Yes.
And there's like the United States, except you've got more terrain to deal with than we do here. We have really populated our country very hot and heavy down here.
Yes.
Now out in the West, you can do all the desert movies you want to,
Right. Yeah.
But the East, where we live, from the Keys of Florida all the way up to Niagara Falls, it's
built.
just town after town after
Yes.
town after town. And so you don't get a lot of isolation. It's constant
Right.
traffic and so forth. So
Yeah.
I guess that's a very attractive thing, even for American producers, the United States. And I hate that because we're horrible in the United States, calling ourselves American, not recognizing that you're American too.
Well, yeah, North America.
North American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You know?
but
We're neighbors that need to take better care of each other, I think, and look out for each other a bit better, right?
But you know, we are still awfully racist and pigs down here, and you know,
Yeah,
we don't
apparently
say,
Canadians haven't been much better now, right? I mean,
we don't
it's
say
finally out.
we don't say God bless the world. We say God bless the United States. Screw the rest of the world.
Rah, rah, rah.
And
Well,
then,
that's what I remember when the first Home Depot opened
Yeah.
up in Canada. And the company I was working for, we used to
Mm.
supply them with bathroom vanities, ready to assemble furniture, that kind of stuff. And I was in there with their sales rep and we were setting up the stuff. And they had one of their first meetings. And all of a sudden I heard this big cheer going on. And I'm like, what the is that? He's like, Americans.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? But sure enough, you know, Walmart started doing like any of the, you know,
Mhm.
Kmart went away, Walmart came in, and they had these rah, rah, rah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, really? Does that make a difference? Really? But I don't know.
We're loud and boisterous. Are you're French Canadian?
I am not. I was
No.
married. I was married too.
Okay, because you mentioned speaking French, or I thought you said you spoke
Oh,
French.
yeah.
Yes.
I kind of thought you were
Just
maybe.
very little bit. My
Yeah.
ex-husband is from Quebec.
Okay, then
the
I
other
know.
country.
See that I know enough about Canada to now understand, since you're not French Canadian, why he's now your ex-husband.
Correct. Exactly.
Because French Canadians are a whole different breed.
Well, it depends where the French Canadians from, because you know we got to be, you know, Quebec.
Yeah.
Frenchmen tend to be a lot different than, say,
Well,
those
they
from
kinda-
down east. Or
I don't know how it is now, but it used to that if you didn't speak French, they kind of looked down on you. It's like,
there's a lot of places like that. I think now it's become much more friendly because of, you know, but you get deeper in. But say somewhere like North Bay, in Sudbury and in this region, there's a lot of French people from this area, and we're very close to a border of a small town called Temiskaming, Quebec. And, you know, amazing. Some of them have never come over and they speak French, but they know there's so many English right there. They're very, very friendly. Yet you can go 2 hours up the road and they won't talk to you.
Yeah,
they just will not talk to you, you know. So
maybe it's getting a little bit better there too.
I think so. You know, generations are changing things up a bit.
Yeah. So you are now more interested in producing.
Yeah,
it sounds like you've done some screenwriting.
I've been involved in some, and I've done some things. But well, let's just say right now, I'm just going to kind of see what's out there.
I think it's a good move. I always tell people, don't overplan your life, because you never know what's behind door number 3.
Well, exactly. And I'm already trying to get over what I picked behind 1 and 2. So I'm just patiently going up to number 3. I don't need to rush into anything, but I got to tell you, I'm very much enjoying, you know, like I said, even if it's a great part-time gig for my daughter to do background, you know, she's not interested in becoming an actor, but she is an ACTRA member, which is the union. And Art Hindle, my father in the BROOD, was actually, you know, the wonderful man who kind of helped her along her path. Then she was in, then out for a bit. And like I said, now with school, she's just doing some part-time stuff. But with having my new man in it and meeting so many people, working with the wonderful people involved with the Blood in the Snow, I've really just found that I've missed it. You know, I didn't realize how much I missed it, and I still love it.
It shows. You exude this excitement from it.
Oh, thank you. Well, I try to love everything too. You know, I've always said that I've been so fortunate, and I've loved every job that I've done, and I've loved, and my counselor stopped me and said, do you think maybe it might have had something to do with you? And I'm like, what? he said, you know, just because you think you're that lucky, or do you think maybe it was attitude, the fact that, I'm like, oh, true. Yeah, I guess I never thought about it, but I do feel blessed. You know, I've enjoyed it all. I'm very much a people person.
Yeah.
And I think my career in acting gave me my good work ethic. It gave me my people skills, my ability to communicate, you know, just all of that kind of stuff. I truly believe that. I don't think I'd be necessarily not bubbly Cindy, but I don't think I would have been as confident as I was growing up, and confident enough to go, yeah, I want to go on my own at 17 because I don't want to do this or that. And the choices that I made in my life, and even getting through difficult situations and toxic relationships.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that. And I was blessed with the good fortune about 5 years ago to meet David, have a coffee with him in his home, and actually thank him. Because I said to him, if it wasn't for you, I know for a fact I would not have the life that I have now.
Wow, that's awesome.
I wouldn't be where I am. He literally saved my life.
He was
my family's life.
He was your anchor.
Gave me the opportunities that I had. My retirement fund from all my acting, I cashed it out. That's how I paid for my college education, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I attribute it to him. My success took off a lot because of him.
Your cat's twerking, by the way.
That would be Sequin. This is Sequin, our rag doll. This is my daughter's cat. She's not friendly like she's supposed to be, but she wants to say hi. I knew she would want to,
So we were joined a few minutes ago by our friend who is a Bigfoot researcher out of Blount County. So I just want to give a shout out to a Bigfoot. There you go.
There he is. Hey, guys.
Hey.
So we've been talking for, an hour and 36 minutes to Cindy Hinds from, I start to say Quebec.
Not Quebec.
No, the country of Canada, Ontario.
Ontario, not French Canadian, but
good old Torontonian.
She was a child, she's still a child actress. When you get my age, everybody's a child. Okay, so there she is in the BROOD, which was a very popular film, and we're trying to talk her into at least doing a short remake of it, kind of a parody. We're going to call it The Return of the BROOD Senior Citizens version or something.
Senior citizen.
Actually, I think I've had that look when my kids won't leave me alone. That could be the parody.
Okay, take the picture away.
I could be in the bathroom with that look, and my children are banging on the door.
Your opportunity now. Let's see that look now. There you go.
There you go.
She hasn't changed a bit. She could go with, but I tell you what, she could be a Zach Bagans partner though.
Yeah.
We need to get you on one of the paranormal shows. There you go.
Yeah, it's good. Got
it. So
apparently, I have a very good evil eye too. So.
Well, I have to wear a lot of makeup to cover the 666 right here.
Yeah, that's why sometimes he wears a wig on the show.
I do wear a wig.
I thought that was just a reflection off of something. I was going to say, did you know you have this shadow?
Follows me everywhere I go.
Hey, notice I don't even move.
Yeah, she stays in close up.
Like, I gotta be honest, you keep staring at me like that. You don't even blink.
Those eyes are haunting, aren't they? I'm mesmerizing you with my eyes.
I'm getting sleepy.
Oh God! This is
Here, let me get my. There we
go. Okay.
I feel much better. Thank you.
Wait,
here's my water.
Yeah, the holy water.
Well, let's see. Yeah.
I'm getting the salt. Oh. Okay, that's just creepy.
Y'all want to start some shit? I'll continue. I lost my holy water. I got holy water.
Oh no, it's probably dried up
I used all mine up.
Oh my
It
goodness.
sizzled quite a bit.
Uh, so so you quit movies after the Dead Zone. You said, I'm dead, I'm out of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
She did Deadline and Dead Zone. That should have given kind of indication of
Yeah.
which direction you were going.
Yes, I think so.
So
Yeah.
you're into paranormal stuff. You really like paranormal.
I
stuff.
absolutely
You-
am. Yeah.
If you ever get down here, we'll take you on a bona fide, genuine ghost hunting adventure.
I will so be taking you up on that.
Yeah, and you can bring your boyfriend with you. That's fine.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm wanting to buy an RV and hitting the road. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
we'll be coming.
That's it.
We'll
You
start
better,
at
yeah.
the most
And you
haunted
can,
place
and you
around.
you can. Kevin will love to have you park your RV. He's got acres of land there, beautiful land, and you
Well,
got a
5
free place to
acres.
park it. And as you can tell by looking at him, he's a good cook. So I can't even give her a compliment.
And we start off at Kevin's house because Kevin's house is the most haunted place
Yeah.
around.
Well, he is situated very close to what used to be kind of a not an insane asylum, a psychiatric ward, or this now.
It was, according to, he belonged to UAB, which is University of Alabama,
Yeah.
Birmingham Hospital. It was a clinic for their doctors, so that when the doctors, doctors with drinking problems or
Yeah.
some other issues, when they needed clinical help themselves, instead of being in the hospital, they had their own little resort out here. And it's been closed for I don't know how long. It's starting to fall apart now over there. But we were wondering, we keep seeing all these geese flying over, whack, 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 just flying over, and like, there's no lakes. And then we found out there is a lake over there with that hidden resort, but there's no trespassing. It's like if you set
But
foot over there, the police show up like this. They're watching.
Yeah, but that's why we have
And-
drones.
Yeah, you can send a drone over there.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
fun. Yep.
So you got a place. You got a place to park your RV for sure. And we got a lot of interesting places you can see down here too. So that'd be a fun trip. It'd be
Oh,
interesting
look
forward
to
to it.
have
No,
you guys
we've
there.
we've talked about it. We both really want to do a lot of traveling, see Canada, see the States, and with having Aiden, and then drag Nikki along too. But we thought that
Yeah.
might be a fun way to do it, is get an RV and
Like a
just
road
go.
Like a road trip.
Hey,
Yeah.
check this out right here. We visited this. This is a grave. It's a dollhouse grave.
That's
for
the
little
one,
girls.
Nadine. That's Nadine. Do you have the video of that knocking?
Wow.
I don't have it pulled up.
Wow.
We've had some
but
experiences.
That is the grave of a 4-year-old child. That was a dollhouse her
That's-
dad was building her, and she died before he could finish it. So he put it on her grave.
That little house is very secure, locked, nothing in it, no wind, anything like that.
Yeah.
From within that house, as they're sitting there, there was a knocking inside of it. That they caught it on video. And
And there's-
they thought that I was pranking them. I was
Yeah.
way over here at the car.
Yeah.
And there's a
I
little
get
voice.
see, I get accused of everything, Cindy. I mean, really.
Why?
Wait,
You've got
I
such
don't
a lot of
know.
space.
I don't get it.
We
you know?
knew you were over there. I even panned the camera so I could see your butt sticking out of the car.
Yeah,
You were bent
we
over.
were
You
watching.
should have twerked.
I was just going to say twerking or not. Yeah.
Oh, we
But-
can torture him
Oh
for-
my gosh.
He tortures us.
If I get down there, we are so all getting together and a line of twerking has to
Yes.
happen.
That's it. We're gonna.
Got to.
Okay,
Instead of
well,
line dancing, it's line twerking now.
That's there we
we'll,
go.
we'll call her. God Almighty! I don't know.
Well, at least we're even with girls and boys. It'll look good.
That's it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but you got to understand. Kevin takes up the whole lens of the camera, so we got to put him further back.
You know,
Would it be wrong to say
One
you
of
can
the-
pull up the end?
They're both right there at the same side.
I tell you.
Oh,
these
wait a minute.
Hey.
You notice neither one of them are calling me fat.
Well, we're kind of gentlemen too.
Now she's beginning to understand why we quit meeting at the office.
Yeah, it was a
We're starting to get
bloodbath.
a little
You know,
volatile.
we were scaring out the demons that were haunting that place.
Oh yeah, we had outside the dolls. There was some other activity in that building. We were in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that thing that
I'll make sure I
Elizabeth
bring
and
my
my
case
mother
of
saw?
sage.
Something out in the parking lot.
Yeah, what is it? What is that? They kept calling it. Elizabeth kept calling it something.
A shadow
Did she
man.
call it a?
No,
She didn't call it a Wendigo, did she, or something
yeah,
like that?
Wendigo. A Wendigo.
Was it
That's it.
Wendigo? Shapeshifter.
Yeah.
I think they have the. I think those are Canadian legends, aren't they?
Yes.
Wendigos. I remember.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's indigenous.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So Cindy,
Hmm.
where can we find these movies to watch your child acting?
Well, I do know that actually everything is available on DVD, which is really kind of cool now. And the Brood has even made Criterion status. So that's, when they give the higher ups or whatever. So there's multiple different versions of the Brood that you can get online. Deadline 2 years ago was released on DVD as well. So it's available. Netflix has got Dead Zone on right now. Usually at Halloween, they typically play The Brood on TV, which is kind of fun to know that it's still that many years later, and because it still seems to be on the top list for everybody, which is
That's
again is
great.
very cool to know that I was, and again,
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
appreciate it till you're an adult to be in something so prominent and so loved, as that movie with David. So it truly is an honor. But yeah, everything is available online. Unfortunately, the other stuff isn't, but those 3 films are all available on DVD.
Well, you need to get some magnetic signs for your car. The Brood.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Brood is also and it has been for the last several months. It's on HBO Max.
Oh,
if
is it?
anybody
Okay.
has that app, or you have it on smart TV, you can watch it, and it's still there.
Okay.
Kevin, what picture did she autograph for you?
That was a couple of them from the Brood. One was one I had sent, which was that I think it was that famous door scene. Where'd all my pictures go? Yeah, that one kind of like that, but it was black and white. And then the one you sent me back with that, which thank you so much, had it was that scene at the end where Art's leaning over, where you're sitting in the passenger seat cowering. And that was it, just those 2 pictures. I've got them up on, I think I had them on Facebook. I have to go pull them off. Yeah.
It's been really neat meeting some of the fans at some of the Comic-Cons and some of the photos that they've had or found online. And actually, it is what started me looking online for different photos. And I found some really neat, Japanese flyers. And I've got, because that film was released in Europe as Chromosome 3. And so I've got a Chromosome 3.
That Brood right there looks almost
so that was at the exhibition Evolution for David Cronenberg. They had actors dressed up as broodlings going around. It was pretty cool. That was a fun night.
You got a fan from the Dominican Republic watching you here.
Hey, Omar.
I was going to say that group right there looks like almost anime characters.
Yeah, they were. I thought it was really fun that when I walked in, I was like, "Oh my god, are they supposed to be broodlings?" But they're all bigger than me.
It would have been funny if those were some of the kids from the actual movie that played Brood extras. Where are they now?
Kevin, we've got a task in store for us for 2022, and we have got to really pump up the Broods every way we can, because we got to get Cindy down here, number one. She's got to donate some stuff to your museum, right? And not only that, we got to do this remake thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask that earlier. Did you get to keep anything like the little blue outfit or anything
No,
from
it
the
was so
movies?
funny. I was saying I actually have very sensitive skin, and we discovered
Oh.
it way back then. Those fun pajamas had those domes on the sides, and I
Oh
kept
Lord.
breaking out in rashes all the time. So
Oh
they
my
had to keep
goodness.
taping them and all those. So I didn't want any of the clothing, but they did buy me as gifts. I still have my director's chair from
Oh
the
really?
movie.
Oh,
So I
Oh,
have
that'd
my
be
own
cool.
chair. So I
Yeah.
still have that. They bought me a big, ginormous stuffed bull that ended up getting ripped to poop by my dog. So it went away. And they bought me a necklace and a big, giant chocolate chip cookie. So it was
Okay, I
it was
just had
nice.
an idea, Kevin.
uh-oh.
We're gonna take all these pictures of her that you found, and we're gonna have somebody make. Since you collect dolls, so we're gonna have a Cindy Hinds doll from the group.
Oh, that would be cute. And it's got to be one pose
Look at
like
that!
that.
Look at that!
Steve.
Yeah, yeah.
I know a pillow could be made from that
Yeah, I
picture.
usually do a pillow
Yeah.
from
Oh,
it. Yeah.
well, that's I
Oh.
actually
Pillow
took
doll,
a
yeah.
photo. There was nothing more fun for me than about, I don't know, I was probably 5 or 6 years ago going in to show a house to my clients. And I walked into the living room and they had a Megan Follows Anne of Green Gables pillow on their couch. And I was like, she's got a fucking pillow. So great.
I bet I
But you
can
know
make
what?
that happen.
When I did my first Comic-Con, the the guys at Twisted Teas, it was pretty cool. My brother surprised me, came down with his wife to see me at the Comic-Con, and he comes walking around the corner and he was wearing a t-shirt that the guys had made up at the show with me on it, screaming through the door. And I was like, I'm on a t-shirt. That's so cool. Yeah, that was pretty neat. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, the
Do-
pillows and the coffee mugs are big right now.
Yeah. Do you remember every once a year they used to do that? What was that movie they used to play? It was a cult-like movie. Gosh, I'm tired, brain dead tonight. It used to be a big thing. I don't think they do it anymore. But we need to get something like that because BROOD seems to be everybody's favorite movie that you were in.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
seems
Well,
to-
it's one of David's best.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
So we need to figure out a annual time to do a showing of this movie.
That would be
And-
fun.
And then as part of the admission fee, they get a doll of Cindy when she was there. They get to have a choice.
Can I do a little bobble?
Yeah,
little
we do the
bobblehead?
bobblehead. You want a bobblehead?
Yeah, there you go.
I've been threatened.
Yeah, I can see that bobbling there.
That would be perfect. To have it like that, the bobblehead. Yeah, that's perfect. You're shaking your own head.
Oh, it's like when they're pouncing on the door. That's the one thing that I do. They said, "What do you remember the most?" And I said that. When they're pounding on the door. It was
I've
like,
been threatening.
Oh yeah,
I've been threatening to do that with Kevin because he collects dolls. except for him, instead of the bobblehead, it'd be the bobble butt.
oh my!
Did you see that on your dashboard with his butt going like
Nobody wants to see that.
this? Twerk.
Kevin, remember, he's just jealous about the girth. That's all.
That's I've got girth. But I was gonna say it would be nice to show like annually here on YouTube if they wouldn't bump us off the live feed for what was that, copyright or something that
I don't know. They can. I
Yeah.
don't know if anybody owns it. It's been just so many different people and different things and stuff. And so if we sit there and I'm playing it, I'm like, it's my movie. What the? Yeah. We'll sit there with commentaries.
So you are having fun with this now.
Yeah, and this is actually the first thing that I've done in a few years with
Really? Well, I found
with COVID and everything else, and then
Yeah.
focusing on my son, getting out on my own, and then I needed to get my son through high school with COVID, so did the homeschooling thing and stuff. But now, ironically enough, I'm actually doing something else this week. Is like literally 2 calls back to back, and I'm like, this is really kind of fun. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
It is a joyful thing for me, you know, because it's a
did you
positive
see that,
experience, a
Kevin?
positive memory. And
Did you see that? She said, "Thank you, Kevin," and then I saw her lips move. Screw you, Kelsey.
no, that was my eyes.
That was the eyes, the evil eyes.
And Catherine, I'm sending hugs and kisses.
Thank you, because I put up with them every week.
I don't know how you do it. I do see that you mute yourself a lot, so I get what's going on there. I got it.
Yeah. I mute myself. I don't want to say how many times the cup's tipping.
That's why she hides behind the pictures.
It's, you know what, it has been such an absolute joy meeting you guys as well. But obviously I love Kevin dearly because I've known him for years and what he does for me. But truly, it's doing stuff like this is so much fun. It's just fun talking about this stuff, even your paranormal stuff, you know. It's cool. Love it.
Thanks for enduring the 2 hours.
Yeah, I can't believe 2 hours have already gone.
And
it's been great.
Enjoy. I mean, it's part of your life. Don't be ashamed of it. You should be very happy and proud of what you've done.
Thank you
and
so much.
How few people can say, huh, "Look what I did," like that. I mean, you know. I mean, that is something.
Yeah, sat across the table from Christopher Walken.
Did he talk like that when you met him?
He did. He actually, and it was fun because and that's what I remember how serious and sad he was because Natalie Wood had just passed away.
Oh,
that was just after.
Okay.
So that was just after then. But I mean, not only that, but then I had Jack Palance almost rip my head off my shoulders. So.
Oh boy. So did were you? I guess you really didn't stay in touch with any of these people throughout the years. It just kind of
Art is the only one that I am constantly in contact and have been because fortunately, when he was on ENG, a Canadian show, I was in North Bay for school. He came up to Sudbury, which was close. I went and met him back in '91. So after doing it, it was a long break. We saw him, and then we got back together for the BROOD stuff. We've done a couple Comic-Cons, and now I just love him and his wife dearly, and they come and visit, and he's kept in touch with my kids, and he loves Aiden. He came to see him in the hospital after Aiden's surgery. I'm blessed, so blessed to have him in my life.
So he's the one that played your dad.
Yes.
So that's great. We should get you and he both on at the same time sometime.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
The interview that I found of you and he, you said that was several years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
And that would be cool to have him on with you and talk about this. And maybe we can get him to twerk as well.
I bet you we could.
See,
give that extra coffee, and I can guarantee you.
Kevin doesn't realize how popular this kind of stuff is, and he gets a little bit nervous.
It's all over TikTok. I just didn't think with my big ass that I could. Anybody want to see that flopping around?
Hey, a lot more to love, Kevin. That's all.
My viral video was an old man twerking.
Oh, tell her about it. She does weddings with me. Okay. Late in life, I became popular as a wedding officiant because I'm outrageous and people like lively stuff. Okay?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm a natural actor. I just never got paid for it. But bottom line is, so she came along and we get so busy, she'll go over here and do a wedding, and I'm over here doing a wedding. Her most viral video is at a wedding at Stirling Castle over here. At the reception, this old man with a cane comes out in an Elvis costume. Tell her. And
that's the story. He came out. He did this whole Elvis thing. I videoed it, uploaded it to TikTok, and it went viral.
Do you have it to where you can show her?
No, because I don't know how to do it on the.
We share it with me.
I will look it up.
Yeah. I mean, really, and truly, he sang pretty good.
Wow.
He had right as soon as he got in there, he's walking with that cane. He's got the whole Elvis get up with the sideburns, the whole get up with that cane hobbling it. But he had a healing, I'm telling you. He had a healing. The Holy Ghost came down on that man.
Yeah, Elvis came out to say hi.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So
But it say
yeah.
he's still alive somewhere.
Yeah. Well, anyway, folks, we have enjoyed. I can't speak for everybody else, but Kevin is beside himself for this. You did him and all of us.
I've been over
Well,
here.
their sequence come in to say goodbye.
Oh, my kitty cat's outside the door. So.
Is your boyfriend with you tonight?
He is. He's just sitting over there.
Okay.
You know,
well, I want to give a special shout out and thanks for loaning you to us from him.
His pleasure. He's working on designing the boat.
Well, we have plenty of water down here, so you can bring an RV and a boat.
We will haul it down.
And I don't know, does he twerk as well?
I'm going to take the fifth on that one.
Well, maybe
my mother might be watching. Okay, maybe my dad. So
yeah. Well, here's the thing, Cindy. To get her to twerk, instead of you taking the fifth, maybe you need to give it to him and he'll twerk.
Maybe. I think after my twerking earlier, he may just try it.
Yeah. We're just, they talk about in the South, especially line dancing for country music.
Yeah.
We'll do twerk dancing.
I think so. I think we got something new going on.
Line twerking.
Yeah.
What's the
dressed
theme?
up as scary people.
Oh,
there we go.
Okay.
Paranormal twerking.
Here we go. Right here. We just got an invite here. Shake it, Kev.
Kelsey, I shared the video with you, the link to the video.
Oh, you want to see Elvis real quick before you go?
Absolutely.
Let me see. She said she shared it.
Don't play the whole thing though, because it's like long.
Okay. Just I gotta get it up on my. Got to stop it and then hold on. All right, let me share this real quick. We do have total control, so if we go over time, we can do these things.
Okay.
We have the power. All right, let's see where we at. I think that's it right there. You ready?
Ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a small interruption. But let's put our hands together and start the music one more time. Elvis!
Old Elvis.
Oh boy! Okay.
I love it. I love when people get into stuff like that. Right?
This is hold on.
I'm thinking about buying myself an Elvis costume and being Elvis.
This is one of the reasons that we become so popular with weddings, because we do these kind of interesting things.
Yeah.
I became very popular with weddings because I would marry gay people.
Yeah.
Okay, and that kind of stuff. We are in Alabama. It's very super conservative, very judgmental.
Yeah.
And boy, I went through hell.
I bet you did.
You're that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd walk in. Oh, one of the DJs or somebody say, you're that guy who'll do anything. It's like, well, no, just because I'll do something you won't do, don't mean I'll do anything.
That's right.
But yeah, and now the interesting thing about it, Cindy, is first of all, they criticize you, then they want to go to work for you, and then they want to mimic you.
That's right. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's,
So anyway,
that's exactly it. That's
really
fantastic.
enjoyed this, and would like to,
Me too.
yeah, get your guy, your
All
dad,
right.
get your dad, and let's do a show. Let's have a Brood reunion show. How's
That would
that?
be fun. That would be a lot of fun.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'll
And
bug
we'll-
Art.
Can we do that?
I will bug him. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do.
Let's do it. We'll have fun, and we will. If we do it further in advance, we can get the word out there a lot better. But keep in mind that this is archived everywhere on Abnormal Alabama, YouTube, blah blah blah. So if you got somebody that didn't watch it, they can watch it later. And but that'd be cool, man, wouldn't it?
Yes, it sure would.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
sure would. Yep.
Anything anybody else like to say?
It's been a
Besides-
great show. I've been fanboying over here. So
I have enjoyed it. I have enjoyed every minute, laughing my booty off.
laughing her.
Yeah.
it has been great. And I am like so going to look forward looking up your guys' work. I truly am. I'm fans right back to you.
Well,
Maybe
thank
back
you
to
very
you.
much. Thank you. I believe that we're all on this planet to help each other out.
Absolutely.
You
It's
know,
the best way. Be kind.
I call
Be kind
myself
and be safe.
I call myself an old hippie without the hair. So
Yeah.
I'm a very, very big Ringo Starr fan. It's peace and love. Peace and
Yeah.
love. You know. So
That's it.
anyway, I tell people I don't care if you worship a rock. I don't. But the minute you pull that rock out of your pocket and start throwing it at me, we got a problem. So
Well
anyway,
said.
so thank you again very much.
And thank you all.
Thank your man behind your camera for
Yes.
loaning you to us tonight. And I'm going to be holding you to that. Get these guys together. Let's do a really big show.
A really big show.
We'll call it the reunion show. Because some of these people are getting old like me, then we may not last forever, Better do it while we're still here.
That's it. All right. Well, thank you again. And you guys all take care.
Yeah. And I want an
We'll
autograph
keep in
picture for my
touch.
wall, too.
All right.
Peace.
Me too.
Peace out. Stay safe, everyone.
Good
Good
night.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.